What's up, y'all? Welcome back. Welcome back. Today, I have some book reviews. Let's get into it.
Favorite reader, that's who you are. Traveling near, traveling far. Through every chapter, you're the star. Favorite reader, that's who you are.
Okay, so I have 8 books here to review. At first, I was going to do the order that I read them in, but now I think I'm just going to go the order that I had them stacked up in this chair. Why not? Why go against the grain? We're just going to start in the order that they're in. The first book is Orbital by Samantha Harvey. This book was interesting. It was interesting. I got this from the library for $1. That's why I initially got it. When I got it, I've seen it before online. I've actually seen it in the bookstore and almost bought it a couple of times in the previous year. And I thought, it's interesting. The cover was kind of interesting. I was like, yeah, this might be really good. This book chronicles the daily lives of 6 people that are traveling through space. This is actually the winner of the Booker Prize in 2024. And, this book chronicles the lives of 6 people who were selected as part of the final space program of its kind. Very meditative, very contemplative, very slow, very introspective. You get to see what's going through these people's heads as they're orbiting around. You get to see what they experience as they see their planet from outside of the planet. You get to see the small things that they miss, memories that they have, things that they're thinking about, ways they can and can't relate to the people that they left back on Earth. And these people are from different countries. And you just get to see how they get to bond over something that nobody else can bond with them over, but at the same time, they're still very different people. This was a whole, it's a little book, but the whole thing just was kind of like, okay, and then what? And that brings me to my point about these Booker long list books. This was actually the Booker winner, but y'all saw, if y'all been here for a little bit, when I read through the 2025 Booker long list, I thought most of the books were just okay. There were a couple that were really good to me, and then most of them was just like I could have done without. Just okay. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad, it was just okay. This was just okay to me. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad. It was just what else though? It was, I don't know. It wasn't good, it wasn't bad. It was interesting to kind of get into their minds and think about how they're thinking about their family and being away and thinking about each other and their purpose almost. And then it had me think about, if I was in space orbiting, what are some of the small things I would miss? Like little sounds that I take for granted every day and just regular everyday commotion. Like obviously people think, okay, yeah, I'm gonna miss my family, I'm gonna miss this, I'm gonna miss that. But just the tiny little details, I feel like that's what this made me think about. And that in a way was cool, but it was just okay. I don't know. It was $1 and I read it and it was short. It wasn't this huge commitment. Yeah, even the glimpses you got of the flashbacks and the memories they were having of their families. It was just a tiny little snapshot. It was alright. It was alright. If y'all read this, let me know what you think. That's book 1, Orbital. orbital. I'm trying to think of the best way to put this stuff. Okay, the next two books were selected for. So my sons and I have a book club and we pick a book every month. But this past month, we actually had two books. We did a series of short stories and we were kind of going back and forth between Arsène Lupin, Gentleman Thief, and the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So these were the two books. I put up like a picture or a graphic of how we kind of went back and forth. We started with Lupin first. We read a story from him and then jumped to Sherlock Holmes and kind of went back and forth. And then it was interesting to think about, like, one, Arsène Lupin was kind of written in response to Sherlock Holmes because of his huge success at the time. But it was just interesting to see, like, the similarities, the differences, talk about what was what. I am a little biased. I actually like Sherlock Holmes more than I like Lupin, but I still appreciated both. Fast-paced stories. Sherlock Holmes is a detective who is kind of like, what's the word? He's definitely confident in his abilities because he picks up on so many different clues. He sees things. He's trained himself to see things that other people can't see or don't see or don't realize there's something to see. He's also kind of sarcastic in a kind of cool way. Not really cold, but just uncaring about little things that don't really matter. He's about his case. Then you got Lupin, who's a gentleman thief, who is very charming, very conniving too. He's not gonna kill nobody, but he is gonna steal. He's gonna slip off your bracelet. He's gonna, do this, do that. He's gonna escape from prison. He's going to outsmart the people that's trying to catch him. He's gonna be one step ahead. And so you kind of got these playing off of each other. There is a Netflix series called Lupin, about, like, based on this series if you are interested. But yeah, I end up liking Sherlock Holmes a little bit more. I actually read Sherlock Holmes, a few of his short stories when I was in middle school. So this was my son's first time going through it, and I had never read Lupin before now. So it's kind of cool going back and forth. So we did do that. This was my son's pick because we take turns, me and my oldest son. My youngest son, he got like 1 foot in, 1 foot out. To be expected. So next time, I choose the book that we get to read. But yeah, that was these two. Very interesting. It's also cool to see my kid, like, interact with stuff at his age, because I don't remember, like, I was reading at his age, but I don't remember, like, what I was actually thinking. There's a couple books I'm like, yeah, I remember, like, thinking this XYZ, but being able to see that firsthand and witness it, and just, it's so cool to see what I get from the text and then what he gets as a kid going on 12. Like, it's just cool. It's cool to see. It's cool to see what he's bored with, what things kind of excite him. I think it's cool. It's very interesting. And then my youngest son, who's 7, again, he got 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Some days he into it, and other days he just like, I'm just here for the snacks. Whatever. Just let me just see what y'all talk about while I eat these snacks. But he's 7, so. But yeah, okay, so that's those two. Next, we have The Autobiography of an Ex-Colored Man by James Weldon Johnson. I started this book years ago. When was that? Let me try to think back. I don't remember. Maybe like 5 years ago. It wasn't like super, super long ago. But I started this book years ago, before this channel, obviously. And I ended up reading like not even a lot. Actually, I got a dog ear, so I could tell y'all where I read. I got to page 35, and it's only 154 pages in this book. I got to 35, and for some reason, I just stopped. So this year, I picked it back up just now, read it, got into it, enjoyed it, got something out of it. Quick read. It's a story about a man, a mixed boy it's a coming of age story about a mixed boy who grows up in the North. Goes through the details of what it looks like with him going to school, growing up, making friends, trying to get upward mobility, figuring out what his place is on earth. And then when he goes off to college, he decides to go down south. So let me back up. He meets his dad at some point in his childhood, but his dad is not like present in the house. So yeah, anyway, so he decides he's going down south to go to school, college. He goes down south. He has a plan to go to college, this, and that. And you get to see the transition from him being up north, that life as a child, as a young boy, talented. He's a musician. He's an artist. Actually, just like James Weldon Johnson, who's a multi-talented as well. He's also a musician, artist, poet, novelist, civil rights leader. And he moves to the South. That juxtaposition is night and day, okay? It's night and day. And then he leaves the South, goes to travel around the world, decides to come back. He witnesses something that alters the course of his life, okay? He witnesses something that changes his trajectory. He makes decisions and he has to deal with what comes of that. He has to deal with what comes with that. And that's what this book is about. It's about Black boyhood. It's not just about being Black and like growing up Black. It's also like, yes, that's a part of it, but there's also a part where it's about being biracial. Like yeah. And so I don't know. It's very interesting. Very interesting. I'm glad I read it. I probably should have already read this, but the time was right. And when the time is right, the time is right. Yeah, he went to Atlanta for school, and honestly, his life, even as a child, it's a coming of age story. So you got to see a pretty good idea of everything that was going on. Yeah, but some stuff alters the course of his history and his lineage. And so you get to see that. But very interesting, very interesting. The main character in this book has a reckoning. He has to figure out where he fits into the world. He has to figure out what his place is, what his role is, and if his conscience can actually live with the decisions that he makes and where he finds himself for reasons of safety, for reasons of, again, upward mobility, him trying to rationalize certain things. So it's pretty interesting to see where this book goes. And then thinking about like the author as a whole and what he had to actually go through as being admitted to the Florida bar. But yeah, that's that one. Okay, I'm kind of going quick. The next one I read, James Baldwin, If Beale Street Could Talk. This one right here. If Beale Street Could Talk I haven't seen the movie. I know there is a movie. I haven't seen it. But this is about, at its core, actually, I think at its core, there's two central themes of the book. One is a love story between Fonnie and Tish, young Black couple, and who, like, they're friends growing up. They knew each other a long time. They have this very interesting, deep, intimate relationship that really developed over years. And then the other side of that is the other part of this story, outside of the love story, the other part is the criminal justice system and its relation to black men in America, especially during this time where the book was taking place, even today. I know, and this is a good book. Let me start there. This is a good book. Okay, wait. Let me tell you some points about this. For me, I am not the biggest love like romance person, and I don't. Even though this is like there is a love story at its core, I still like I don't look at this and be like, oh, this is a romance novel. It probably is classified as that. Is it whatever? Love is a central part of it. But what I found myself enjoying more than Tish and Fonnie, which their relationship to me it was real. To me, their relationship had some realistic portions to it. It wasn't 100% perfect. I wasn't feeling every interaction with them. It wasn't like this fake love story. There was real stuff in there, the good, the bad. I appreciated the realistic take on their relationship. They were young, immature, in love. Mistakes were made. They both wasn't making the best choices at all times. Yes, like I like the fact that it was realistic and not this fake 100% everything is perfect love story. But what I like more than their relationship, and this is just me, I'm only speaking for me. What I like more than their relationship was the other relationships in this book and the other things. So I really like seeing Fonnie and Tish's relationship to their families. I like seeing the dynamics and how there's like a stark contrast between Tish's family and her and Fonnie and his family. I like seeing how they fit into that. I like seeing the relationships that Fonnie had made in the actual community with the people like in the neighborhood. I like seeing people rally behind Fonnie to try to help him because he's in prison. In this book, you get to see him being in prison, and we are told that he's falsely accused of a crime that he did not commit, and you get to see people rally behind him. Again, there's, I think, what I do like about this book is this is not like everything in here is not gonna make you feel good. It's not this like to me. I've seen reviews where people say like this love story is so perfect. To me personally, there were some things in this book where I was like, I don't like that. But that's real. That's reality and that's life. Like name a perfect union. So I like that part of it. There's some things that the parents say and do I'm not a fan of. Again, that's realistic. Again, name a perfect union as far as like mother son relationships or daughter mother relationships. There are some things in this book. It was the things that I didn't like in this book were placed in here, I think, intentionally to make people feel uncomfortable, which I can appreciate and I did like about this. Written well. You cannot take anything away from James Baldwin's writing. Written so well, written amazingly. I do want to watch the book. Watch the book. I do want to watch the movie though. And yeah, let me think what else. I do like the exploration of how love can make you look at the world differently. Like I could relate to that. I can relate to that. Just how like when you just feel with love and just joy and like yes, even though the world outside of you is not perfect, like that portion makes you look at stuff differently, makes you have a different appreciation and a different and highlight different things in life. And so I did appreciate that. I liked how beautifully it was written, how it was like touched on in a way where you just felt like, yeah, like I can relate to that. Like I know exactly what you mean. So I did like that. I did like how we got to see Tish and Fonnie's relationship develop over time. It wasn't Their love story was cute, but it wasn't it wasn't my favorite part of the book. I think always with books like this, and that's just me in general. Even when I read a romance book, my favorite part is typically the things outside of the relationship. And I love love stories. I really do. But I like to see what's going on outside of their union. And to me, that just makes it seem more like engaging and more just realistic, especially with the problems that you have to face when you're up against challenges and like things that can prohibit whatever y'all doing from succeeding. Like that's what I like to see. You faced with these challenges, you have things that you have to overcome and y'all do it together. And sometimes you lose hope. Sometimes y'all like one person picking up another person. You're not always up at the same time. I like that portion. I like the stuff outside of I'm so deeply in love with you, which that is good. That's good to have that piece. But to me, it like enriches it when you have like real life. You got two imperfect people. Tish was so gullible at times. And I was just like, bro, whatever though. Less people are people. And then finally, he said some stuff. I was like, why would you say that to her? But again, people are people. So it makes sense. I like how realistic it is. I like the element of seeing young black men and how that relationship with the criminal justice system is in America during this time. I like that it was told from Tisha's point of view. And I keep going back to this. James Baldwin is an amazing writer. I'm not saying nothing that's not already known. We know this. And this was written amazingly. It was written so well that even though the way that it ended had me like, what's going on? I had to think, even with the ending, I had to sit and think, why did he end this book like this? I had to take a step back from saying like, oh, I really didn't like the ending to thinking about what is it that he's trying to say or like convey with the ending. What are we supposed to get with the how abruptly that ended and like this unresolved stuff? What are we supposed to get from it? And so I did form my own opinion and conclusion, which enriched it even more because I'm like, oh, if that's what he was going, that was pretty cool. That was clever. It's up. A couple of things are up for interpretation, and I think it worked well when I took a step back and was like, why? I really had to take a step back, think about it, and see what I thought about it. Like, yeah, that could be like why he did. That was pretty interesting. So yeah, great author, man. This James Baldwin be writing, and I'm telling y'all what y'all already know. Everybody know this. Everybody know this. I do want to watch the movie. So there's that. James Baldwin be writing. Okay, the next book. Let me see. Okay, yeah. The next book I have is MH Chaos, the CIA's Campaign Against the Radical New Left and the Black Panthers by Frank J. Rafalko. This book is written by a man who was on the team tasked with keeping tabs on, and I'm trying to be careful how I word this, on who was running like a counterintelligence sting on the Black Panthers. I found some of the information in here interesting and eye-opening. What the author claimed to have done early on in the book, I mean, like, like early on in the introduction, he claimed that this would be just him stating the facts, kind of going against certain claims, and then the reader deciding what to do with that information. He claimed that he didn't say it was unbiased, but he claimed that it had like a objective undertone to it. Like there are a lot of misconceptions about this program. There are a lot of misconceptions about why we did it, why it was started, who did what. And the CIA had come clean about a lot of other things, but not about MH Chaos, which had to do with the Black Panthers. So he wrote this to be open, honest, transparent about what was going on, why, and to quiet a lot of conspiracies surrounding it. That's how he set the book up, and that's what I was getting out of it. I mean, that's what I expected to get out of it. And then shortly after that, I realized I do have my bias. I knew everybody has biases that they bring to books, but a lot of the things that he was trying to disprove, like I wholeheartedly am on the other side of that. So he like, and not just about the Black Panthers, but about counterintelligence, period, about mass surveillance in the United States, period, about digital privacy and safety in the United States, period, about what the government will and won't do, period. I'm on a total opposite end of where he came from with this book. I still read it, and that's going to bring me to my point in a minute. But I realized that early on that I was reading this from a perspective of somebody that's on the other side. I didn't fully agree with every single thing that he was kind of like countering, but I was on the other side on quite a few things, because I'm like, you're not about to sit here and act like the government is just not doing this stuff that you said, like, oh, we didn't do it for this reason. I was on the other side of quite a bit of that. But that brings me to this point. And no, it's not in here. Somebody asked me on Instagram, how do you read books that you don't like? Or how do you how do you handle books? Not like, what did she say? How do you handle books that constantly go against things that you believe yourself? And what she was coming from was like, I believe, because when I asked for clarification, I didn't really get it, but I believe that she was talking about as a Christian, like, how do you read stuff that's constantly bashing Christianity based on a book that she responded to? And that's what this made me think of. I read books for different reasons. Like, I might pick up a book because I like it, I agree with it, I want to hear how people explain something I already think. I might pick up a book just because it's interesting, I never heard anything about it. I might pick up a book to get a different perspective when I pretty much have my mind almost formed on something, but you know what? Let me just hear another perspective. Let's just kind of see what the arguments are. I might pick up a book for no reason at all. The cover look good. Who knows? But with books like this, where I can tell pretty early on that I am not going to agree necessarily with either like the worldview or the lens that is written from, I still feel like there's something to be gained from it. And sometimes I will not read a book. Sometimes it's not worth it to me. But in a case like this, I felt like, and I think pretty much I've always been this way. If I don't have to internalize and adopt and believe every single thing I read, I can read something and not agree with it and still find value in it in other ways. Like, I don't have to agree with every single thing that I read. I don't have to look at a book and be like, you know what, this is law. Like, what he said in this book is law. I can form my own opinions. I can disagree and still say I can appreciate the good journalism here. I can appreciate this and this and this. And sometimes I don't want to deal with it at all. It's just too much. Like, I don't feel like it's worth it. But in times where I do go through with it, I do feel like I get something from it, even if it's like just a good, well-rounded view of what the author thinks, because this is written by one man. Even if, and a lot of people do believe things that he said too. Sometimes you want to see what other people think. Sometimes you want to get information on what the program really was, who was actually being targeted, in my opinion, targeted, in his opinion, not targeted, but trying to really minimize threats locally and foreign, especially when they had a reason to believe that there was foreign influence. So I want to see what that looks like. He was a part of this organization. I want to see what was going on behind the curtain. And it's interesting, this information, but not every single thing I or you or anybody reads has to become a part of who they are. Now, I do think it contributes to some of your own thoughts, like whether it strengthens the way that you believe, whether it challenges something that you believe, whether it just makes you think like, wow, that's a weak argument, or dang, that's like a really good position. I never considered it that way. Not every single book, one, has to have the same impact, two, has to be read for the same reasons, and three, have to have the same takeaway. I have seen an uptick, and not just, is it just on social media? I don't know, but of thinking that because you read a book, you have to then internalize and believe every single thing that's in this book. It had some really good portions of this book where it really went into the weeds of like why this order was signed, why the president said XYZ, who said what, when, where, and where were the people positioned, and things like that. But then it got to a point where I didn't agree again with the position that the book was written from. There was a lot of things personally, I'm like, you are not about to tell me XYZ. And it's not the same. I wasn't hate reading this because I have seen that being said a lot lately. Like people hate reading books just to give a bad review. I don't have a bad review for this book. It was just kind of like I got the information from it, almost like reading a thick article or something. But I wasn't hate reading it either. I don't think I could read something that I was just like, I hate this through and through. But I can read things I disagree with. And I can read things that I don't necessarily agree with the worldview it was written from. Sometimes I don't. Again, it kind of depends on my own personal discernment or whatever it is that I'm reading or not reading. But with this, it was worth it for me to finish it. I wanted to read it for a while. I didn't know much about the CIA campaign. I don't know much about many CIA campaigns. And over the past few years, I've kind of been reading more and more about them. And it was just some stuff in here. I'm just like, dude, you're not about to tell me this. I'm just going, that's your opinion. Okay, keep going. The whole book really is his opinion. But there are facts in here about the actual CIA campaign. So I said all that to say this was informative as far as why the campaign existed, why he believes, because he can't say for sure, why he believes it was started, what he thinks his contribution is, and him responding to certain conspiracies and things that surrounded it. That's what this was. Interesting, informative, but this is a book that I kind of wanted to give a caveat on, because if I recommend it, I would only recommend it to a certain group of people. Just because sometimes people think if you recommend something, then you're vouching for it. Like that's like you agree with everything that's in it. That's not the case. And I don't know why there's this like parallel between the two. But I would have to say, like, this is one of those books where you might not agree. If you anything like me, you might not agree with some of the ways that some of this stuff is written, but it is informative. It's informative. I got the information that I wanted to get about this book, about the CIA campaign that took place in the 90s. So, yeah. At counterintelligence in the government. Okay, two more books. The next book I was very, very, very excited to read. That was Read Until You Understand: The Profound Wisdom of Black Life in Literature by Farah Jasmine Griffin. I couldn't wait to read this. I think where did I buy this book? Maybe a library sale. I don't know, but I love the premise of this book. Like, let's talk about Black writers, Black life, and draw out wisdom based on these works, these stories, the influence. And then it has the like literary analysis and it being applied to real day life and culture, but it also is mixed with almost like this autobiography of the author's life too. So it's like twofold, which I thought was really cool and creative and an interesting way to tell this story. So the author is talking about life lessons pretty much that she's learned and the heavy influence of her father on her life and her growing up, the heavy influence of literature and Black writers and thinkers and revolutionaries and what that meant for her life. And it was just so good. It was interesting. I like the way it was written. It's nonfiction, but it was very interesting. It wasn't dry. It was in a narrative form. And what I liked about this, I always wonder. I tell my kids a lot of things, and I wonder, like, will they even listen to this? Like, they're little now, but will they listen to this, or will they totally like, will they heed my warnings and listen to like follow the outline I've kind of set up? Will they look at my life and draw something from it that then helps them with their life, or will they abandon it all? I think about this often. Would it be like, I don't want no parts of that? Or will they look at that and use it in some way to help them become the men that they're going to be? She was listening to her dad through his actions, through his words. She was analyzing it. He was used and saw as like a blueprint in a lot of ways. Even the things that she is different from him, the areas that she's different at, she still honors and can see the influence of her dad in that. And I just thought that was so cool. I just thought that was so cool. Because I look at my daddy and I'm like, I I can recognize some traits that I got from him, but it's not like I'm using his life as like, and I did get some wisdom from him. And I do actually find myself thinking back through some of the things that he said and emulating in a way some of the ways that I seen him kind of move around. But the way that she wrote it, it's to a way higher. She was doing that to a way higher degree than I feel like I did. Like, she had a lot of reasons and good things to latch on to with her dad. And I just thought that was so cool because I'm always like, I wonder what our kids are getting from us. They looking at what we're doing. They're watching us unconsciously, subconsciously, and consciously. And they're picking up on things that I might not even know I'm laying down. You know, and it's cool to think about. Real cool to think about to me. Yeah. This book like explains and integrates the works of Toni Morrison, James Baldwin, Frederick Douglass, Malcolm X, June Jordan, Charles Chestnut, who else? Maya Angelou, Richard Wright, Barack Obama, Ernest J. Gaines, Tony K. Bambara, like so many different people and revolutionaries and influences, and they just weaved in this book so well. And I just thought, that is so cool. It's so cool. I really did enjoy this. I really did. This is a good book. And somebody, when I put this on my core four, which is like my TBR for the month, I had a few people on Instagram say like they really think I'd enjoy this. They really enjoyed it when they read it a couple of years ago. And I did. It was so good to me. Very good. Written well, very intriguing, interesting, kept me invested. Okay, last book, y'all. Last book. The last book in this video is A Gentleman in Moscow by Amor Towles. Out of all of these, This might have been the first one I read, actually. Oh, this book has some cool stuff. And let me tell you, this book is set in Russia. And one of the first things I noticed, I don't know if it's significant or not, is that all the chapters start with the letter A, whatever that has, whatever significance that has. But anyways, this book is set in Russia, and the main character is a count, and he is sentenced to house arrest, like in an attic of this hotel. So you get to see him living in this hotel for decades, and it's slow, and it seems like it's got all the makings to be a boring book. It does. It seems slow, like not a lot happening. Like it seems like it's gonna be boring, but it slowly creeps up on you to being so interesting. And when you feel like, dang, it's not much happening in here, but it's so interesting. You get to see this man slowly shift his perspective on life itself, slowly change the way that he looks at people and situations in the world, because he's stuck in this hotel during some crazy decades in Russia, okay? Like during some times where it's a lot going on. And then he's like almost stuck in time because he's in this hotel. His days are same scenery, same this, same that. And you almost see him stuck in time as everybody around him is still living life and still going on and changing and being able to have experiences. And so you get to see his micro experiences in contrast to everybody else's regular life. And he's forming like these friendships and these interesting relationships, and he's finding joy in small overlooked things. And the novelty obviously wears off. Of first you're like, oh, I'm in a hotel on house arrest. Cool, cool, cool. But after a while, it ain't fun. You don't want to be on house arrest in this hotel. And you get to see just the like transition that takes place over time. And it's a quote in here. It's a couple in here, but listen to this. Dang, it's kind of long. Do I really want to put, it's a lot. Dang, I do want to read it, but it is long. Let me see if I got a short one. Let me see. He's giving like wisdom. It's long, y'all, but I do want to read it. I'm going to read too, if y'all don't want to listen to it. Okay, I'm going to read two of them. The first one says, after all, what can a first impression tell us about someone we've just met for a minute in the lobby of a hotel? For that matter, what can a first impression tell us about anyone? Why no more than a chord can tell us about Beethoven or a brushstroke about Bocelli? By their very nature, human beings are so capricious, so complex, so delightfully contradictory that they deserve not only our consideration, but our reconsideration, and our unwavering determination to withhold our opinion until we have engaged with them in every possible setting at every possible hour. I just love that. Okay, and then one last thing. This is the long one. Y'all, buckle up, Buttercup. This one a little long. "'Tis a funny thing," reflected the Count as he stood ready to abandon his suite. "From the earliest age, we must learn to say goodbye to friends and family. We see our parents and siblings off at a station. We visit cousins, attend schools, join the regiment. We marry or travel abroad. It is a part of the human experience that we are constantly gripping a good fellow by the shoulders and wishing him well, taking comfort from the notion that we will hear word of him very soon. But experience is less likely to teach us how to bid our dearest possessions adieu. And if we were to, we would welcome the education, for eventually we come to hold our dearest possessions more closely than we hold our friends. We carry them from place to place, often at considerable expenses and inconvenience. We dust and polish their surfaces and reprimand children for playing too roughly in their vicinity. all the while allowing memories to invest them with greater and greater importance. This armoire we are prone to recall is the very one in which we hid as a boy, and it is these silver candelas that line our table at Christmas Eve. And it was with this handkerchief that she once dried her tears, etc., etc. Until we imagine that these carefully preserved possessions might give us genuine solace in the face of a lost companion. But of course, a thing is just a thing. And so, slipping his sister's scissors into his pocket, the Count looked once more at the heirlooms remained and then expunged them from his heartache forever. Oh, that is so good. So good. Yeah. Very good book. It's slow, and it's like it's a slow build up to this major turning point in the book. And then the ending, to me, I know it's divisive. This ending is divisive. Either you hate it or you love it. I enjoyed it. I actually liked the way that the book ended. I thought it was a good ending. The way that I interpreted it, I enjoyed it. I really did. This is a good book. It creeps up on you because you like, at first you reading it and you like, okay, like nothing's happening. And then before you know it, you just get to understand this old man in Moscow, the Count, and you get to see his relationships with people that there, like the unlikely friendship. I love an unlikely friendship. So good. Before I finish this book, one more thing that I want to say about it. I liked the way that this book looked at guardianship and how serious we take it, as we should. How somebody wants to protect somebody that they're the guardian of, like protect children, and what the things you would do to ensure that they have a better life, the things you would do to propel them forward, even at the expense and risk of you. Yeah, good book, man. I enjoyed it. I did. That's it for today. Let me get my little stack. So we did A Gentleman in Moscow, Read Until You Understand, MH Chaos, If Beale Street Could Talk, The Autobiography of an Ex-Colored Man, Arsène Lupin, The Gentleman Thief, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, and Orbital. Whew, okay. I guess I can get up for once. Let's see. That's what we have. This is what we have today. Y'all let me know if you've read any of these, if you want to. Yeah. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one.
Pages turning soft as silk, stories flowing like warm milk. A journey starts with every line, worlds unfolding in your mind. Bookmarks falling where dreams collide. Every cover's got a tale inside. Favorite reader, that's who you are. Traveling near, traveling far. Through every chapter